Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about something that's becoming really prevalent nowadays, and it's something I feel needs to be discussed. We're all guilty of it. We all do it. I do it. You do it. Everybody does it. But with that preamble loaded up, let me talk about something else real quick first. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update for anybody who might be interested. I know I've discussed in the past that I will be doing segments about cooking. I almost have some video options figured out, so cooking instruction really isn't something that's well done just orally. That's something you really kind of got to see to actually grasp, and I could describe stuff all day, but without being able to show it, I don't think it would have the same impact. So bear with me. I'm working on it, I promise. I will start getting some little educational videos posted hopefully within a week or so. I'm just looking to pick up a couple pieces of equipment. So, all right, that being said, let's get to the actual ranting and raving. Today I want to talk about something with the current climate of the country in which I dwell, the good old United States of America. God bless it. It's something that is happening more and more, and it kind of falls under the blanket of everything else I talk about. It deals with people that are being stupid and rude and inconsiderate, and it's internet arguing, fighting online. The fact that people, regardless of the fact that literally every one of us from our logical minds knows better, we know we're not going to win any converts going out and fighting with each other via the internet to, no matter how right we feel about our situation, no matter how righteous we feel our cause or our belief is, for some reason we all seem to be suffering under this drive that I'm going to get behind my keyboard and I'm going to start lashing out at anybody that doesn't agree with me. And I'm all for discourse and discussion. I'm all for back and forth. I believe that's how you keep your wits sharp. That's mentally how we stay on top of things. That's how ideas spread and grow and evolve. There needs to be discussion. There needs to be discourse. That's not a thing we really can do without. We need to have that. That is a necessity for mental health and stability and growth. The problem is the internet has a few things going for it that really hamstring the process. The simple fact of the matter is facts and logic, they fall by the wayside as often as not, and everything becomes emotional. We as a society have forgotten how to disagree with each other without making it personal, without sticking to the subject and not linking it to the person you are disagreeing with. Someone somewhere decided that every time someone doesn't agree with them, it's a personal attack, and that mentality has just spread throughout our entire country. Part of that may be generational, but a lot of it is in how we approach our discussions with each other. And everybody has this I'm right and you're an idiot mentality. Well, not everyone, but realistically, the people I take issue with are the ones who have the mentality of, if you don't agree with me, you are either mentally defunct or morally bankrupt, or for whatever reason, they somehow think that not only are they better than you, but you are actually a worse person because of a belief or a tenet you follow that they don't agree with. Or the people that are out there, and regardless of facts or proof, anytime there is a solid, either scientifically or some way factually based argument, it's either a lie, a conspiracy, or you're just stupid for believing it because they know better and they figured out better. And there's no mutual respect in these situations. The internet has, along with an anonymity, becomes a lot of just people that are just assholes. They're so fixed in their beliefs and so convinced they're right. And there are no real world consequences other than the inclusion and evolution of cancel culture, which I honestly think is one of the stupidest things that humanity has come up with to date. I don't like what you believe, I don't agree with what you say, and I'm going to ruin your life because of it. What kind of childish, juvenile shit is that? But I digress. The point is, when you get in an argument online, it generally, you could almost say it's following a script at this point. Person A makes a statement about something they believe in. Person B, who disagrees with person A, immediately says, no, you're wrong. This is what I believe. Doesn't submit any facts, doesn't offer anything to back up their logic or their statement. And if they are not immediately agreed with, they wait for the audience and they assume they have. Everyone always assumes that they have the majority on their side and that they are the ones being backed. And it shows in a lot of the attitudes that are prevalent in these kind of situations. And the back and forth just flame wars from behind the keyboards. And people have literally files full of memes that they keep at the ready for when they get in these arguments. Because that's how they think these things should be handled. That's how they think discussions should be held. That's how they think discourse works. I yell at you until you agree with me. And it's one of the reasons things are very quickly heading down the toilet. It's one of the things that are causing all these rifts. And realistically, if you look, the amount of responsibility that we each individually need to own on this is a pretty hearty serving. But if you step back for a minute and you look objectively at things, we all get a slice of this pie, but we're not the only ones. The cultural and societal issues here, and there's a lot of things that culturally and societally we need to adjust. And with it being an election season, it makes sense that there is a lot of disagreeing going on and a lot of people going back and forth. But unlike 20, 30 years ago, when candidates were presented and people would disagree with candidates or disagree with whoever they were running for, you had to do it face to face. You weren't doing it to some anonymous stranger from the other side of the country. So your attitude was tempered as a certain amount, and the indignity was kept, not necessarily gone or not necessarily even minimalized, but it wasn't so readily put out there either. It wasn't, well, you disagreed with me, so now I'm going to call you every name I can think of that's hurtful to me, even if they're not hurtful to you. I'm going to slander your intellect. I'm going to belittle your personal character, even though I don't know you. And people have gotten way too comfortable making snap judgments about people they have never met. They don't know from Adam. They don't know if you're a good person. They don't know if you're a bad person. They don't know if you're a rotten son of a bitch. They just make assumptions that because you don't agree with them, you must be. And honestly, it's getting to the point where you don't even really get a chance to explain yourself before you are being belittled or talked down to by someone who doesn't necessarily have the clout or standing to talk down to you. But in the world of the internet, everybody thinks that they're on some kind of pedestal, and for whatever reason, everyone gets a voice. Everyone thinks they're right. Honestly, in the last couple of weeks, since things have really started gearing up in the back and forth in electoral talks and things, with everything that's been going on with the Supreme Court issues that are going on right now, I have literally, in the span of 3 days, been told that I must be a liberal, I must be a severe conservative, I must be a Republican, I must be a Democrat, none of which are labels I actually consider applicable to my beliefs or my stances. I mean, I believe in personal responsibility. I believe in personal liberty. I believe you have the right to do whatever you want to do within reason, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, or you should have those rights. But the other side of that coin is you have to bear the responsibility of those rights. And that's all the stumping I'm going to do in this conversation. That's what I believe. That's where I stand. Everything that I say can be filtered through that basic set of tenets. I believe you should have your rights, you should have your freedoms, as long as you're not hurting or infringing on anybody else. As soon as you do, you give up those rights. That is the consequence of your actions. It kind of goes with having the freedoms. You also bear the responsibility.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
And that's enough of that. Back to the discussion about arguments online. Literally, both sides of these conversations, in some cases, it was even a simple matter of I was presenting facts based on legal precedents, how things were handled when a similar situation arose previously. Didn't say whether I thought it was right or wrong, simply made the statement, this is what the legal precedent is as I understand it. And I was immediately told I was a fascist. I was immediately, literally, one of the first replies on the comment I posted saying, this is what the legal precedent is, as I understand it. I got told I was an idiot. I was missing the bigger picture. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I must be in favor of wars, and I am a ultra-conservative because I said the legal precedent is this. Didn't say what I thought about it. Didn't say what I felt should be done. That's it. And all of a sudden, I'm a fascist warmongering asshole because I said, well, in the past, this is how it was handled. The end. Didn't get mean, didn't get insulting, didn't talk about anybody's parents, didn't talk about anybody's mental capacity. Had a lot of thoughts about people's mental capacity, but I kept my opinions to myself. I didn't see the point of stirring the pot at that. No one is going to respect you as soon as you start bad-mouthing them. And that's where I really get hung up on it. I don't understand the mentality of, since you don't agree with me, instead of trying to present my case with logic or maturity, I'm going to insult you because it's like they don't understand. That is the most surefire, guaranteed way to make sure someone does not agree with you. And we saw this in the last presidential election in this country, particularly the day after the election results were announced. And the massive swell of unbelief that the president-elect was the president-elect. It was a scam. It was a fix. It was impossible because there's no way. They were the loudest. They were the most verbal. They told the rest of the country what they needed to believe. They mocked the flyover states. You made fun of all the people in the Midwest because you're not the East Coast or the West Coast. You must be stupid, and we're going to tell you how to think. And then they wondered why they didn't get any respect or why people didn't jump on board their bandwagon. If you're going to bang the drum talking about how people need to be respected and people need to be treated a certain way and you have to respect their individuality, you have to respect their opinions, you have to remember, if you want that treatment for everyone, that includes the people that don't agree with you. And that's where the internet fights tend to start to slip. They don't show any respect towards people that they don't agree with. They don't reciprocate. They don't even act like you are worthy of having an opinion. So that's what's wrong with trying to have an argument on the internet or trying to have a discussion on the internet, trying to have differing opinions. So that being said, we've looked at what's wrong with arguing on the internet, how it's a problem. What are the different ways we can address this? How can we move past this? How can we possibly get back to having conversations instead of fights? How can there be a respectful discourse instead of name-calling and just juvenile behavior? So realistically, the way I look at it is we all have a certain degree of obligation here. By all means, disagree with people. Don't blindly accept what someone else tells you. Don't buy into this. We all need to pull back a little bit, and we all need to add a little critical thinking to our approach to things without actually being so critical of everybody else. You need to run your own thoughts and opinions through that filter before you start judging other people and trying to call other people out for doing the same thing. And realistically, it's something we all should be working towards and striving, because we all know if somebody gets in our face and starts screaming at us and starts yelling at us, we're not going to listen to them. We're not going to go, hey, you know what? You're right. Calling me a fascist really opened my eyes to the problem. Telling me I'm a snowflake, that just makes me think your way of thinking is right. Literally nobody does that. And we need to remember that. We need to hold that in the forefront of our thought processes before we start engaging with people like this, because you're never going to win anybody's opinions or change their hearts or their minds by attacking them. You have to show them why the way you think is better, why you think it is right. And not just through, I think this because this is why I think this, and you're an idiot if you don't believe me. You were doing good until you got to the insult. You need to keep it above the belt, to use the old fighting analogy. Don't make it personal. Don't make it an attack. Be somebody that people want to emulate. It's really not that hard. I actually have made it my policy, as soon as somebody starts making something personal, I disengage with them. I've said that to people when they've started trying to get me into these situations where they keep making comments and they're waiting for some sort of response or for me to engage and allow them to get that traction. And I've said, as soon as you started trying to make it a personal attack on me individually as a person instead of about the subject that we were discussing, I stopped caring about what you think. And 8 times out of 10, that completely shuts down the fight. It takes all the wind out of the sails. And for some reason, people take these things so personally, as if they have some sort of real world weight, or they are somehow going to impact their day. And people will let their entire day be ruined because of what some schmuck online that they've never met and will probably never see in real life said to them. So that's kind of the next thing you have to look at when you're looking at online arguments and debates and discussions, is you have to remember you can't take the other guy to heart. You can't let him get under your skin. You have to be able to walk away. You have to be able to leave it behind and not let it ruin your day. Not even because it's going to make the argument or the discussion or whatever you want to call it any easier, but because is it really worth wrecking your whole day over something that at the end of the day hasn't changed a thing? So to kind of button things up here, we're going to end with something that kind of sounds cliche-ish, or maybe it's something you'd read on a bumper sticker somewhere, but just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. Maybe you'll be a little happier for it, and then I will have actually accomplished something. The best way to win a fight on the internet is don't. So thanks for listening. Check out the website, www.ihadtosayitpodcast.com. Contact information is on there. We've done some updating. We have added a music page. It's something I want to expand on. It's something I think it's important and we need to encourage it. If you're in a local band, or if you know of a cool local band, you want to get them out there, add them to the index, just let me know. There's a contact page on the website, or you can reach me through the Facebook group, and I will be more than happy to add their information to our music tab. And for now, that's what I had to say.